Two best friends talking about their favorite titles.
Spencer
And
Aaron and Sam, the tech man. It's Misfits on vinyl for me.
Fuck. Mellencamp.
Please tell me you were recording that. Oh, you got all that?
Wonderful.
Dude, we gotta send that to the Vidos as like a cover.
Official cover.
Official cover. Oh, dude.
Misfits on vinyl. Two best friends shooting the shit about their favorite titles. Spencer and Aaron and Sam, the tech man. It's Misfits on vinyl for me. Fuck John Cougar!
Nailed it again. I got the timing down
You
finally.
nailed it again.
Woo!
All right.
Pressure
Hello
was on.
and welcome to Misfits on Vinyl. Happy New Year, everybody. My
Happy
name
New
is
Year.
Spencer Streichert. I'm an actor, comedian, and one of your hosts.
My name is Aaron. I'm also one of your hosts.
Aaron is also an actor.
I sure am.
He sure is. Actually, it's interesting because there's gonna be an episode where you're gonna be gone because you're gonna be away filming the Jon Snow sequel series.
Yeah,
with HBO.
I have a really important shoot coming up. It's a scene in the new series where I go ice fishing with my girlfriend and a couple of her friends from school. So
There is White Walkers there.
Yeah,
though.
there are.
Yeah.
There are. Yeah.
If you don't know, Aaron is playing a wildling in the new series.
No, I'm playing Jon Snow, bro. I told you, Jon Snow Glove. You already know that. No, I will be MIA on an episode, unfortunately. I am pre-booked with a date sitting on a bench looking at water and catching fish.
But
So,
also drinking beer.
yes.
Yeah, you will be drinking beer. The scene calls for it. Mm-hmm. And also you are a method actor.
I will be method acting the whole time.
Yep.
So it's going to be a lot of effort for me. I'm going to be really focused. I'm going to be watching that rod, waiting for a nibble with all the skills I have accumulated from my 3 years of university acting and, countless productions I've been in. So
I know what one of your lines is already in the show.
what?
Are you a dragon girl? Because I'm dragging my dick on the snow.
Okay, did you read the script? Like, did you hack my email? Also, I thought you were going to say, one of the lines is, I caught a fish, because that is what's, hopefully, fingers crossed, is going to happen, so we'll see.
How depressing is it when you go fishing and you don't catch a fish?
Really depressing.
I hate that more than anything.
So that reminds me of this summer, like, my parents moved to a lake, and they have a house on a lake, and we were like, one of my coworkers is really into fishing. I was like, oh, yeah, like, come fishing. Like, they stock this lake with fish. There's so many fish. So he's like, okay, I'm coming. So I woke up at, 6:30 in the morning. We went out to go fishing, and we didn't even get a fucking nibble, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it was pretty depressing.
Dude, that sucks. I hate, because, I haven't been fishing in a few years now. And the last time I was fishing, it was with an ex-girlfriend of mine who had never been fishing before.
Nice.
And I was like, this is the most fun. And then it was not the most fun. And we just sat on the shore, and I was honestly just doing all the fishing. And
Nice.
she was watching, which, you know what? Maybe that's a reason the relationship didn't
I was going
work
to
out.
say, did you bicker?
Yeah, no, I was doing all of the work.
Nice.
Yeah.
What a metaphor.
What a metaphor. What a metaphor. Perfect metaphor for that relationship.
You can't fish if you don't cast a line.
That's true.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say throw a rod, but I was like, that would just be like javelining.
You know what, though? You could throw a rod in a relationship
Yeah.
into the spokes of it
Nice.
and then just fall.
Yeah.
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 And then go, damn it, relationship.
I scraped my knee.
I scraped my knee.
Also a metaphor.
Also a metaphor. We're really good at metaphors.
Yeah, this is what we learned from our therapist, is to make life
A metaphor.
Yeah.
Also, okay, so
Yes.
we do not have
We're already drinking.
any beer from our official, non-official sponsor of the
This week.
podcast this week because a certain member of the podcast
Maybe behind the camera.
and maybe behind the camera almost forgot a memory card.
Well, and then he consumed all the beer.
And then he
out of
consumed
shame,
all the beer out of shame.
for almost forgetting the memory.
He
card.
drove over 3 children at a crosswalk too on the way over here. So this is probably the last episode that we have with Sam Tech Man.
And he blew through 3 check stops, and the cops are actually waiting for him downstairs.
But you know what? It's okay because I used my star power and I was like, "Listen, officers, I need a producer for this episode."
Yeah.
Because I've already set everything up, and we need somebody to press record. Otherwise, we're fucked.
Yeah, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? No, it's Sam. You press record, right?
Yeah, you did press record, right?
If you are seeing this, we are recording.
We are recording.
We are recording.
And if you're not seeing this, we've been talking for 5 minutes.
Yeah, about nothing. About nothing. Yeah. Cue the song. Cue the song.
On vinyl. Speaking of the song, recorded by the Vidos, we should probably redo our outro at some point to include them in it. Because I keep forgetting about that. I also have to update the text underneath all of our shit to include the Vidos theme song because I forgot about that.
One thing I like about our outro too is like I'm stroking your bunny like an evil villain. So if we could do that again, that would be a lot of fun.
We can do the toothless one.
Ooh, the toothless bunny. Ooh.
Toothless bunnies are more evil.
Well, they don't nibble as much.
No, they don't. They give you gummers. They're just like yeah.
You could pay good money for that,
dude. You really could. It's like those fish that you put your feet into to eat off the dead skin.
Yeah,
it's like that, but they
less like that.
Less like that because they more so just nibble on you.
Yeah,
all over.
We were talking about the alcohol.
Oh yes, that's true.
Yeah, I thought you were going to get back to that.
Yeah, so we're drinking a gin drink. Mm-hmm. We're drinking gin with bubbly lemon water and orange juice.
Very nice.
It's smooth.
We're going to be next episode. We're going to be sponsored by orange juice, just in general.
Yeah,
like the general category of orange juice.
Dude, OJ's got to get into podcasting.
They're running an anti-scurvy campaign, and we're the faces of it.
We definitely do look like Well, I kind of look like I might have scurvy at this point.
With your beard, you're looking a little piratey.
I got a little bit of a beard. I'm honestly trying to see how long I can grow it out for. But I do notice that when I turn sideways, it kind of looks like pubes.
Nice.
Because it's not even right now, but it's long and bushy.
I honestly am jealous because my beard doesn't grow very long and it's incredibly patchy. I just get a little bit of a chin strap and a little bit of a mustache. So,
but you know what? Your mustache could do better than mine because you could probably do a handlebar.
It does come down. Yeah.
Whereas I can't do a handlebar. I got this gap here and here.
So what you're saying, if it was like 1975, I would have the best fucking mustache in the city, is what you're telling me,
dude. There has been a couple of times where you've had the best mustache.
Thank
though.
You
got good mustache game.
I like it when stuff gets caught up in it. That's my favorite thing.
See, I've been noticing that now with my beard, and it's great when you have a snack for later.
Yeah, that is good. I was eating pulled pork sandwiches the other day. This is before I shaved. I just recently cleaned up. But Sarah was like, you have pulled pork in between your mustache and your beard. And I was like, fucking amazing. It's like I didn't even know it was there.
Okay, I have a question for you. Yes. Bush or no bush?
Ooh. I think I'm a bushman.
I'm a bushman,
like,
too.
Am I talking about myself or I'm talking about the woman?
The partner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a choose your own adventure. I'm not that picky. I've experienced both. I just don't like the in between stage where it gets you all bumpy.
Yeah,
it starts to scratch. So I'm a choose your own.
I'll say this, guys, no bush, women bush.
But me personally, my dick area looks like your beard. So yeah, there you go.
I do have a dick head.
Nice. You do. Anyway, Spencer, how was your New Year's?
Oh my God. Yeah. So I went to Cold Lake.
Nice.
Did comedy with Dale Ward up there.
Shout out Dale.
And I can confidently say I did not get us any listeners for the podcast while I was in Cold Lake. It was like, honestly, everything about the gig should have been good. Like the tickets were like high price, you know. It was a smaller venue, low ceiling, the only thing was, so there was 3 tables near the front that were great. They were listening the whole time, never talking, just paying attention. And then there was a table in the middle that was like kind of paying attention, kind of not, but I also think they were old as shit, so they were like, what? Like, at some points,
Yeah,
right?
nice.
But then there was a 60-year-old's birthday in one corner, and a table of Rig Pig Cokeheads in the other corner, and both tables would not shut the fuck up at all, and, like, there was a lot of times where they weren't speaking at the same time, but one of those tables was speaking at all times.
Nice.
And then at one point, they were both speaking so loudly that I turned to the audience and I said, "Can you please shut the fuck up so you can hear my jokes?" And they did. And then I got an audible fucking silence when I hit the punchline because they hadn't heard anything else in that.
Well, one thing you learned is they take direction really
They
well.
took direction really well.
That's funny.
It was rough. And then, like, my closer right now, like, it doesn't do great in small towns because I talk about basically losing faith in religion, right? And I talk about like suicide, and I have a few other elements in the joke, right?
Yeah.
It's a pretty layered joke, and I love it as my closer because it's like 5 minutes where I have callbacks and misdirections and everything. Like, it's to toot my own horn. It's well written, right? And I got to the second to last punchline in that joke, and somebody in the back yelled out, "Oh, I actually liked that one." And I went, "Oh no." And then I got to the last setup and they hated it and they went, "Oh, I don't like that." And then they all started talking again. And then I said my final punchline and got nothing. And I was like, "Anyways, are you guys excited for your headliner?" And then I just brought up Dale. I was like, I fucking
You really tuned him up for Dale.
really just primed up
good
that
work,
show.
Good
And then
work, Spencer.
Dale also had to battle with that the whole time. It was kind of beautiful. But you know what? I like a show where we both die together.
Nice.
That's fun.
If you're on a ship, everybody goes down.
Everyone goes
Yeah,
down.
no, I
it
feel ya.
sucks when you're the person that derails it, but when you see everyone else also eating the shitty spoon of cereal,
Yeah.
you go, "Oh, it's not that bad. It's not us. It really isn't
even
us."
though you poured the milk.
I did pour the
Yeah,
milk.
you're like,
was
let's
like,
all share it together.
Let's all share it together. Come on, guys. Are we here for a good laugh? And they were not.
I feel for you, buddy. That doesn't sound like a good way to ring in the new year.
No, and it was really funny because, like, we got off stage at like 11, and by like 11:20 we were like, we're gonna leave, and the staff were like, "Oh, you don't want to stay to have a toast for the new year?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." I was like, "Not a chance in hell."
Here's to never being in Cold Lake again.
Never being in Cold Lake again. Fuck. I next year, mark my words, Vegas, New Year's.
That'd be nice.
It's happening. We're gonna do a Misfits live recording in Vegas on New Year's next year, and then I'm gonna headline it, and then we're gonna bring in the new year that way.
If we don't make it to Vegas, we'll be in Reno. Or if we don't make it to Reno, we'll be in Henderson, Nevada.
You know what? Reno would actually probably be more fun.
I've been to Reno. Reno was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was also like young, and I didn't see much outside of the hotel, but it was pretty nice.
Bill Cosby used to have a residency in Reno.
Oh. Well, that taints it for me. I was about to say, well, I don't remember much about Reno.
Oh no.
But I'm not really his target audience, so...
Okay, so I guess one thing that we could... God damn it, Aaron, that was good. I fucking missed that right away. Oh, that was a good one. Okay, he's going on tour this year.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was recently announced. He's like, "I'm gonna go on tour," which is not gonna be good. My question is, like, he'll probably sell out wherever he goes, but who is buying tickets to those shows at this point? You know what I mean? Like, it's like I can understand people that are like, "Fuck cancel culture," but then it's like at the same time you're like,
but that's not really... Bill Cosby's not really the hill to die on. For
No.
that one. Like, go see
No.
In Season Sorry or something. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't die on the hill for Bill Cosby.
Cancel culture. That was crime.
Yeah, that was crime. He
yeah.
was in jail. He was in prison for a couple of years. Like,
I don't know. It would be funny, though, just because he's really funny looking now with his eye going all wild. Like, so it would be funny just to go to have a laugh at him. Like, you know,
you could actually throw shit at him.
Oh, probably.
He's too old to avoid it. I thought about this because I was talking with Dale about it in the car. I'm like, I fielded the question, okay, if he asked you to open for him, would you do it? And, like, here's my thought.
Moral dilemma here.
This is where like I would probably so this is what I would do. I would do my material as I do, which would not be for a Cosby crowd.
So you're gonna open.
No, but listen. I would do my material, right?
Shameless fame whore,
No.
Spencer.
Listen.
Shame.
Listen. You're missing out the part that I would do my material, but then when I would introduce him, I would say, "You know him as America's dad and the greatest rapist in comedy. Please make some noise for Bill Cosby." And then he would probably lose his shit and actually start swearing on stage.
The good thing is he moves pretty slow, so you got at least a 20-minute head start to get out of there. So you can say it and run, you know?
Dude, I wonder what names Bill Cosby would call me.
I don't know, but that'd be good training for your marathon.
Dude, it really would. It would be amazing training for the marathon.
Anyways.
Anywho. On Misfits on Vinyl.
Yes.
We always discuss an album.
We sure do.
And we go into a deep dive on said album.
We definitely go deep.
Sometimes it's a popular album.
Yes.
Sometimes it's an album that we really love. And sometimes, like today, it's both of those things coming together.
Yes.
So this episode, we're going to be reviewing Bon Iver's For Emma Forever Ago.
That sounded like something that would be on this album. Background vocals.
Someday
Can you do name three consecutive lines from the album? This is bringing something we're gonna talk about later.
Go find another lover.
Nice.
To bring up, to string along.
Nice.
Before you're gone.
Nice.
Perform the parable.
That's pretty good.
Okay, so I got 3.
That's pretty good.
And then the next line is, I need to go forever.
Nice. I'm actually really looking forward to this one. This is an album I know we both have a connection with. But
Yeah,
it's a fun one to do.
This is also one that you introduced me to. I knew Skinny Love like from the album, but I knew the Birdie cover version of it because that was the one that got so much fucking airplay everywhere.
Popular, yeah.
Very popular. I'm really excited to talk about this album because, yeah, like you said, we both have personal connections to it. And, yeah, you had introduced it to me at a great time when I was going through, like, a breakup. And then I connected with it a fuck ton. And I became a Bon Iver stan at that moment.
I am a very big fan. Like, I listened to this album, I was younger. It wouldn't have been when it first came out, but a couple years after. I first got into the Bon Iver when it came out, and then I got into this album, and then I was really, really into his 2016 22 A Million. Like,
yeah.
It's one of my top albums of all time.
I was going to say, the other thing that's cool about Bon Iver is that Wisconsin on that album was actually a bonus track on For Emma Forever Ago.
Nice.
So that's a cool little connection.
And I mean, he wrote a song about Calgary. Well, it's called Calgary.
Yeah.
And that album is cool too because I mean, some of them his albums are all a little bit concepty, but that one he was just on tour and he was writing about places that gave him inspiration. All the titles are places or like, you know, describing something in the place. And yeah, he wrote all those songs about places he was inspired by. And I've seen him once in Calgary on the 22 Million tour, and then I saw him in Toronto as well in 2019. So I'm a big fan.
But he also, about Calgary, this is a cool thing that's a connection with us, like not specifically, but as a city.
Yeah.
Because we have X92.9 and CJSW, and they had started playing For Emma Forever Ago, like songs from it.
Nice.
So we were one of the markets that actually gave him airplay, which is super fucking cool.
It was strange too. The 2 times I saw him. So when I first saw him, I saw him at the Stampede Corral, which I think sits about like 5,000 to 7,000 if I remember correctly. And then I saw him at I guess it's what is it called in Toronto? What it used to be called. I think it's Scotiabank Arena now, but he's Air Canada Center.
Yeah.
So I saw him there in a big arena, and the light show was crazy. And I was second row at the one in Calgary, and it was fucking awesome.
Dude.
Yeah, I took some gummy bears and had a really good time. I cried.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I cried.
Dude,
Yeah.
I speaking of crying, because this is like more of our connection with Bon Iver.
It's with the Holocene, though.
Yeah, it was so fucking funny. So we on my 23rd birthday, when we were in Toronto,
we were living together.
And a dear friend of mine had given us an illicit substance.
Yes, it rhymes with mextasy.
Mextasy or memdi meme, you know.
Yes.
It rhymes with that.
It rhymes with that, yeah, precisely.
So he gave us though 3 doses of this mextasy, MDMA. And this person that was with us, who I was not friends with and who I actually really disliked but was there on my birthday, he also wanted to take one of them. So it was Aaron and myself and this person, and that person had never done any drugs before, and they were a wreck, and we had to babysit said fuckhead on my birthday.
Yeah.
Which honestly kind of pissed me off and annoyed me.
But to be fair, I had a really great time.
I had a great time.
I still think about that night because, well, first of all, we went to the baseball game in the day, which was awesome.
That was so much fun.
And we were like, oh, we need to acquire an illicit substance for tonight while we were at the baseball game.
So we talked to one of my friends who works at a major video game studio.
Yeah, he was in a crunch time for a major video game.
And
he happened to have an abundance of illicit substances. That was keeping him going day to day.
Yup. And it was a blast.
We went to a cool bar
that had bras hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah, it had a couple different stories. They were playing 80s music.
Yup. Which, if you don't know by this far into the podcast, my favorite type of music to just fucking put on.
Mm-hmm. We danced hard.
Oh my god.
And then we took the subway home. We got McDonald's.
Yep.
Which, it was strange eating McDonald's when you're all like in your head a little spaced out. You're like, ooh, this doesn't taste like food.
Yeah. It's like Filet-O-Fish was very weird.
Yeah, which was also weird. You ordered Filet-O-Fish. Like the only time people order Filet-O-Fish is when they're on the hard stuff. it's like
But so we get into the apartment and we start listening to Bon Iver,
mm-hmm.
and then we were like, oh, it's gonna be amazing when Calgary comes on. It's gonna be so beautiful. Yeah. We got 3 songs in and we had to shut the fucking thing off because all 3 of us on Ecstasy were crying our eyes out.
Bawling our eyes
we were just like, oh, it's so powerful.
What's also funny about that, though, we were bawling our eyes out while we were playing Mario Kart, listening to.
Yeah,
we were also playing Mario Kart at the same time. But yeah, that is one of the stories I think about a lot because it's like very, very funny. Yeah.
It's so funny.
But to this album,
so
let's give it. I wrote a lot for this today.
Yeah.
So
this one's gonna be interesting because it's the first one where we both did research on
this
it.
is a combined.
This is a combined
from
script
Wikipedia.
From Wikipedia.
From Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
I saw what you were copying, and you saw what I was copying and pasting. Yeah.
At one point, I saw Aaron type in "Hi Spencer," and it was right when I clicked paste.
Caught you red-handed.
Got me red-handed. All right, so "Forever Forever Ago" is the debut album from American indie folk band Bon Iver. Mm-hmm. It was self-released in July of 2007, and then later re-released on the Jaguar label. Jaguar label in February of 2008. The album is principally the work of singer-songwriter Justin Vernon. The album was recorded between late 2006 and early 2007. I was in grade 6.
Nice.
Vernon abandoned his old songwriting method and instead chose to focus on wordless melodies that he later set words to, which he felt evoked a more subconscious meaning. It's very true because when you listen to it, both of us have the same criticism for the album, but I think that the thing that's beautiful about it is that it's almost like poetry, where you don't actually have to be fucking you can get the emotion out of it without actively listening to every
It's haunting,
word.
which is something he kind of does with a lot of his songs. It's like not all the lyrics are cohesive, or the lyrics you can understand them, but the emotion that he has through his voice and through the melodies he's singing gets the point across anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something unique about him. that I think comes across. Like, that was the purpose of why he was doing it, and it came across in this album. So
totally.
yeah.
And speaking of the lyrics, they include subjects like lost love and longing for the past and life's mediocrity.
Nice.
Man, I am an idiocrity.
Nice.
Emma. Okay, so the title of the album, Emma, is the middle name of Nicole Jensen, who was Vernon's ex-girlfriend from college, and she was a saxophonist in his bands Mount Vernon and his self-described first love. He clarified that although her middle name Emma is used in the title, it's more of a metaphor for closing out this chapter of his life. Emma isn't a person. Emma is a place that you get stuck in. Emma's a pain that you can't release. Maybe that's probably why it's so connecting to like a lot of people.
Yeah.
His folk-infused songs include heavy choral arrangements featuring Vernon's falsetto and horns, and he also used autotune and vocal layering to further manipulate his voice. He took lyrical inspiration from podcast favorite Bruce Springsteen, wanting to tell stories in his song, and he recorded it primarily on an old model Macintosh computer with Pro Tools LE. Now, I want to actually bring something up that I found out about this album today, and I didn't have a chance to put it in the doc. The guitar that he used on this album, he found a guitar on eBay, and it was this lady in Texas. It was her dead husband's guitar. Yeah. It was from the 60s.
Like 64.
Yeah,
I read about this
and
as well.
it was an old Sears guitar. It wasn't even like a fancy one, and he liked it because he knew that it was going to sound like different. And then when he started playing it, he liked that it sounded brittle, so he didn't even fuck with the strings. He just tightened them.
So that's one thing I put in later on in the little bit, but he traded venison meat to fix that guitar.
Really?
Yeah, while he was living in the cabin, which we'll get to shortly after this. But yeah, he traded some venison meat to get some work done on the guitar.
That is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that makes you think like how much love was put into this album. Like this is realistically, this could have been a passion project that nobody else heard of.
Okay, you would think it to be that way, but he doesn't feel that way.
Really?
Yeah, I put a couple quotes later on, like we'll keep reading through and you'll get to it. But he didn't feel like any artistic catharsis, is what he said, like leaving the album. He said he felt like he just fucked around with a laptop for a couple months, and he didn't even want to release it.
Wow.
Yeah, so he didn't really have any strong feelings about it at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, so I guess we'll get to it.
Yeah.
We'll get to the last little bit of the info about the album, and then I wrote quite a bit about the background of it. So
yeah, so the album, the inspirations for the album were the Vienna Boys Choir, Appalachian Folk, the Staple Singers, Mahalia Jackson, and Sam Cooke. Now, Sam Cooke, as soon as I read that, it made a lot of sense. Like, and it was one of those things that I wouldn't have noticed unless I had seen it.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw that, the connection just made so much sense.
and those are the ones that he cited himself.
Yeah.
In an interview, he talked about that.
I wanna love you, but I want you.
Nice.
Seems like I'm always thinking of you.
I like this one,
whoa.
Sam Cooke. Darling, you send me. You know that one?
No.
That's good. It's good. Darling, you do. Shoo-ba-dee-doo. It's very good.
A shoo-ba-dee-doo. A shoo-ba-dee-dee. Okay, let's get into the album background. Boo-doo-doo-doo. That's what my grandpa does all the time. He walks around his house and he's like, ba-doo, ba-doo.
Making some eggs, making some toast,
Hot cakes coming off the stove. I do. And he does this thing with his fingers where he waves them up.
Did I take my medication?
I did not, and somehow I'm still alive. I'm 85.
My blood pressure is high.
Oh, I love my grandpa. He's a good egg.
Shout out to Spencer's grandpa.
Shout out to Grandpa Turner. Good old Grandpa Turner. All right, so leading up to the recording of this album, Vernon's life had gone into a downward spiral, leaving him depressed, empty, and lacking motivation. He was living in Raleigh, North Carolina, making music with his band, DeYarmond Edison. Over the course of his time in Raleigh, he became frustrated with his songwriting as well as his personal life. He worked at a local sandwich shop and felt his life was wasting away. I can see that. I can definitely understand that. I recently quit my job because I felt like my life might get killed, not just wasting away.
And you weren't even a sandwich artist.
And I wasn't even a sandwich artist. He was a sandwich artist. He started to have health problems. He first contracted pneumonia, then mono, and then he developed a liver infection that kept him bedridden for 3 months. The liver infection being caused by hepatitis, if I am not mistaken. Which is fucking horrific. That sucks. He lost most of his money playing online poker while bedridden.
Yeah.
Which is insane to me.
It's very depressing, dude. Like, he's like fucking, like, really in the dumps.
Is this fucking guy my dad? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, he sings about it on Stacks he's like, well, it's very long-winded, but he's like, another 200. I put down another 200.
Fuck, that's so funny. Oh, God. Fucking gambling.
When your money's gone, you're drunk as hell. Yeah.
Oh, that's so fucking funny. Okay, so members of his band began to fight, and Vernon was kicked out of the group. Many of his bands had similar members. Some he had known since his adolescence, which amplified the pain of breaking apart.
So yeah, he was in multiple bands with like a lot of the same people, and they all broke up at the same time.
I've wondered about that because in the Calgary scene, there's a lot of bands that have the exact same lineups.
So he like had a big kick in the dick. Like he's got a liver infection. He lost all of his money, and then he's getting kicked out of the bands. And he's like fucking making turkey BLTs.
Oh,
he's
God.
like really struggling, the poor man.
Dude, and like honestly, like how depressing is it when all of that is happening and you're spreading mayo on a piece of bread for someone else?
Like, imagine you're just thinking about it, you're like, fuck this, fuck. You're just like, fucking, do you want mustard? Fuck.
I wanted this toasted. Fuck!
Should have folded.
Well, you know what? Technically, he did fold.
Yes.
Because then 25, he felt his life had spiraled into mediocrity, and as though he had lost a sense of purpose, and he lost the sense of purpose he had half a decade prior. He sensed he had compromised with bandmates and in his personal life. His depression was fueled by indifference, and then he decided to get away from Raleigh and return to his hometown. He broke up with his then girlfriend, Christy Smith, and tossed his recording equipment into the trunk of his car. He drove home to Eau Claire. I didn't know he was in Calgary.
Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
It would be more depressing if he was in Eau Claire, Calgary. we're small. Fun fact, Sam used to work there.
Really?
Yeah, we used to meet up and go see movies.
Oh, right, because you worked outside of there.
Yeah, I worked at the ice cream shop.
And I worked in the park there.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
We all have a connection to Eau Claire.
A connection to Eau Claire. I've seen a couple of movies I was in premiere there.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun.
It's a good movie theater.
Yeah, it's a good movie theater.
It's straight out of 1995.
It really is.
It's an old movie theater where they still have the squiggly carpet.
Yeah.
That's how you know.
Oh, dude, I just saw The Whale when I was there.
Oh, nice. How was it?
Oh, fucking one of the best movies I've ever seen.
I'm still due to see it. So
Holy shit. I cannot recommend that movie enough, and Brendan Fraser deserves an Oscar.
Nice.
He's like hands down amazing.
I'm happy for him. Encino
Man, George of the Jungle, The Mummy.
Yes.
The Mummy is great.
Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Oh, right. I forgot. Two. Wasn't that two?
No, two. The Rock's in number 2.
Oh, I thought The Rock was in number 1, but yeah, okay, that makes sense.
The Rock's in number 2.
He was in Space Jam 2, though.
Yeah, was he?
Or Looney Tunes 2.
Looney Tune Back in Action.
Yeah. That was like...
It's not a sequel, that's just the first one.
Yeah, but it was like...
You go to Paris.
Came after Space Jam.
Yeah, it did come after Space Jam.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're in sequence.
But I think
I don't think they have anything to do with each other.
I think they're in the same universe.
Probably, yeah. Because the Looney Tunes are involved, yeah. I would say they're in the grand scheme of the Looney Tune multiverse, yes. Yes. Brendan Fraser and Michael Jordan are all in the same universe. Which is almost like real life.
You know what? That's actually crazy because I hadn't thought about that before. So really, the Looney Tunes are in our universe.
Yeah. Because LeBron James is in it, too.
Dude.
And Don Cheadle. Yeah, just down the golf hole. Every time when I go golfing and I sink a putt, which rarely happens, I'm like, oh, am I gonna get sucked down? And I never do.
I'm glad that you haven't gotten sucked down yet.
No.
What do you think your thing would be if they?
Yeah, thank you. What? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. If I got sucked down, what would happen to me? I'd probably finish.
If you. Okay, if you got sucked down by the Looney Tunes, what do you think your thing would be that you would save the universe? Like obviously LeBron and Michael, it was basketball.
Well, the way that Michael brought in Bill Murray, I would bring you in and we would do the podcast, and I bring Sam too. Yeah.
I like that. We could definitely do a better podcast than anybody in the Looney Tunes universe.
Yeah, I bet like Elmer Fudd's got some good country recommendations.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yosemite Sam's probably got some racist ones. But
yeah.
Foghorn Leghorn, he's a little sexist, let's just say.
But yeah, I bring.
We can't have Pepe Le Pew on the podcast.
No.
We cannot have Pepe Le Pew on the podcast.
Well, it's just because you don't like French people.
Well, it's partially because I don't like French people.
Yeah.
That's a big one, honestly.
Yeah.
That is like honestly the number one bias against him that I
got
have.
you. I know you well.
Bugs Bunny would just be kind of an annoying prick, I think, if you listen to him talk for a long time.
Yeah, no, Daffy Duck, like he would spit up our mics.
Yeah,
so,
he would ruin the mics.
We don't even clean these things, so imagine after he gets done.
Yeah, no, I don't want him.
I'm happy today.
Thuffer and thuckatass all over the mic.
I don't think I have the crusty dusty one. You might have the crusty dusty one. I can't tell.
I do.
Yeah, nice.
I accidentally licked it.
Nice. Yeah, because you get so close. I'm
do.
keeping a healthy distance. Like you're like just all up in his business.
I like to make Sam work for the volume leveling.
Aaron makes me work.
Yeah, because sometimes I come in and sometimes I'm away, and then sometimes I talk quiet, and then sometimes I talk loud.
I am consistently loud.
Yeah.
Okay, so he first stopped at his parents'
You're welcome,
home while they were out. He sat on their couch and felt claustrophobic and super empty. He returned to the road in search of silence and hoping to be alone. His travels brought him to his father's hunting cabin roughly an hour's drive northwest of his hometown of Eau Claire. When he first arrived, he did not intend to stay for long. He spent the first 3 weeks watching Northern Exposure and drinking beer. Oh, God.
Nice.
I am not drinking beer today. He wanted to live on the cheap, buying time to decide what to do with his life next. And his dad would come every 10 days or so with beer, milk, eggs, cheese, and some other essentials. In exchange for staying, Vernon was tasked to do chores for his dad, such as stacking lumber, cleaning brush, and stripping wood. After the first 3 weeks, he brought his instruments and recording equipment to the cabin and began tinkering with song ideas. He hunted for deer while there, killing 2 in his 3 months stay, even trading some venison in exchange for fixing his guitar. Were those 2 kills legal?
I don't know.
What are the Wisconsin hunting laws with deer?
I know you're asking me because I'm really deep in this ice fishing thing, like method-wise, but I didn't study the laws.
I thought that this
role.
was a part of the Jon Snow sequel series.
No.
Hunting laws in Wisconsin.
No, there's no hunting laws in the Game of Thrones universe.
That's true. There's
Yeah,
like literally none.
Murder of people is not illegal, so I think shooting deer should be a problem. So, but yeah, and he also, fun fact next is pretty wild.
During his stay, he had a run-in with a bear who broke into his cabin while he was making stew. What the fuck?
Yeah, and that's all it said. It didn't give like any background how he got away from the bear, what happened with the bear. It just said, yeah, he had a run-in with a bear. It broke into his cabin while he was making stew.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. You know what I think is wild too? Like, there's so many, like, I have not had a bear story, really. Like, there was one time when I lived in Invermere where we saw, my dog and I were out hunting turkeys, and I saw a bear in a field.
Nice.
And then I ran home crying because I was, like, scared of the bear. But the bear did not come near me at all. Like, it was far away. But I was 10, so I freaked the fuck out, right?
Of course.
But the flip side of that, my dad and his brothers, when my grandpa was away at work one time, and they were young, like my dad was like 8, he's the middle child, they came home one night with my grandma, and there was a bear in their apple tree in the front yard. So my Uncle Dan ran inside and got a gun, and he came out, and my dad was holding the flashlight at the bear, and my Uncle Bruce was standing there behind him, and my uncle shot the bear, and then they heard like what sounded like a fountain, like water trickling. Like it was just like, tss. And then all of a sudden the bear fell out of the tree, just thump. They ran inside. They were fucking shitting themselves, right? It turns out they had shot the bear in the heart, and they're super lucky that it actually killed it, because if you shoot a bear in the heart, they can still live up until their heart stops. And if you're within 100 meters of the bear, they can kill you still.
Wow.
So my story with a bear compared to my father's story, where he was younger than me,
Yeah.
very different.
Yeah, I'd say so. He probably made a good rug out of that thing, dude.
Yeah, they probably ate it, too. They probably fucking ate it, because that's what you do with bear meat.
Sometimes. Some people don't eat it.
Okay, so I can't believe he had a run-in with a bear.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. I don't like that there's nothing more about this.
Yeah, I know, it bothered me too.
Can we come up with a story about what happened with him and the bear?
I think he sang it his sweet melodies, and the bear puttered off. He was like, "Oh, I need to go get the girl I once lost," and then puttered off into the woods.
I wonder if he sampled the bear.
He broke.
Maybe that's in Flume.
No. Well, thing about Flume. Flume was written before he got to the cabin, so yeah, it doesn't work. I think
the sample.
Maybe he used it for one of his Kanye collabs.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Monster.
It's all about the bear.
Yeah, that's the bear. That sound in the background.
The bear actually wasn't a bear. It was just Rick Ross. He was really hungry. He was really hungry. Bitch, I'm a monster. He was really hungry. He's like, I'm fucking starving, and I'm in Wisconsin.
Dude, I think that what happened with him and the bear, this is my thought, okay?
Yeah.
This is my theory. So the bear knocked on the door at first, but he was busy, making stew, and he had his headphones in.
Yeah.
And then the bear opened the door because the bear was like, "Hey, can you help? My family's broke down. We need to call someone." So the bear opened the door, but he speaks bear. So Justin couldn't understand him. So the bear was like, "Roar!" And Justin was like, "What the fuck?" And then he, I think, threw the pot of stew at the bear.
I have a theory now. I think the bear was Yogi Bear. And he came and was like, "Those deers, do you have proper permits? Those deers you shot?" And he wrote him a fine, and Justin got a fine, dude. And that's what he sings about in Skinny Love. He's like, I got all the tickets, and you're holding all the fines. So there you go. There you go. You got a fine for not doing the white-tailed deer properly.
And then he had to pay that ticket to TJ Miller.
Yeah. There you go. To help him pay off some of his other.
Ooh.
If you have a bottle, don't give it to TJ.
At least not with your pants down.
No, definitely not.
Okay, so he would wake up each morning at sunrise due to the light reflecting in from the snow. "I would work for 14 hours a day and start to feel a little insane," he later commented. The work was labor-intensive, as he often merged over a minimum of 8 tracks of vocals on each song. According to Vernon, days were hazy and began to run together for him. After 3 months, he emerged with 9 songs, but did not feel renewed from his creative catharsis. It's sort of odd to look back and see it as magical, because it felt like a lonely few months at the cabin, where I plugged in the laptop and fucked around. So before returning to North Carolina, he bought a bottle of whiskey and met up with a few friends to add some brass to the track for Emma. That song, The Brass, is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you know the local band? Now I'm drawing a blank on them. Fuck, they're my friends. I can't. I Am the Mountain.
Yeah, I've heard about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Dude, the brass that
Thanks,
they
Siobhan.
do is very... Yeah, thank you, Siobhan. We've both been friends with Colton O'Reilly for like 8 years, so it's really bad that I didn't remember
Yeah,
him.
that is bad.
Shame.
Shame.
I've worked with him several times.
First you want to open for Bill Cosby, and then you forget about your friends.
Okay, I didn't say I want to open for Bill Cosby.
This guy's getting too big for himself nowadays.
Listen, I didn't say I wanted to open for him. I said if I could open for him, I'd call him a rapist. I think that's different than wanting to open for him. And that clip would go viral, which would help our podcast. I'm thinking of you selfish fuck.
I felt thought of.
You felt thought of when I was talking about Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I really did.
Holy fuck. Okay, so Yeah, I Am the Mountain, their brass reminds me a lot of that song specifically. Okay, so he viewed the songs he wrote at the cabin as potentially demos that he would later re-record, but Ivan Howard of the Rosebuds convinced him to leave it as is, commenting, "This is your record." He consulted friends to listen first before deciding to self-release it. He mixed his recordings himself, hoping to send them out to labels who would then give him advice to record a real album. What I think is funny about that is, can you imagine your friend coming in and playing you that record and being like, "I wrote this"?
Yeah. I'd be like, oh, shit.
I'd be like, "Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, this is really good." And then he's like, "Yeah, but I think that I need to re-record it.
Yeah.
I don't think that it sounds great.
Yeah, no. It's terrible.
It sounds awful. I don't want this out there." And you're just like, "No, dude, this is good."
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'd be a pretty jarring experience, I'd say.
Dude, that would be insane.
I would feel, like, grossly untalented, especially because the other guy's a musician.
Oh,
and,
my God.
And Vernon was actually touring with them, the Rosebuds, at the time. So he came back to Raleigh with this album already made, and he toured with them for 6 months playing guitar.
Wow.
So he was just like a guitarist in like a small time band, and then he played it for the singer, and the singer was like, "Holy shit, dude." Like,
Damn, dude. So he's like the Christopher Cross of his generation.
yeah. So he didn't play in Deep Purple.
Okay, so while at the cabin, Vernon had written to Kelly Crisp of the Rosebuds, concluding his letter with Bon Iver, a misspelling of Bon Iver, which is French for.
Well, he did it backwards. So he spelled Bon Iver, which is a misspelling of Bon Iver.
Bon Iver.
Yeah, Boniver instead of Bonhiver.
Bon Iver.
Yeah, Bon Iver.
Bon Iver.
Yeah, but they both sound the same.
Bon Iver.
But Bon Iver, like the artist, is spelled like Bon Iver.
But French is Bon Iver.
Bon Iver.
Bon Iver.
Say mediocrity again. Meteorosyncraties?
You know what? Fuck you. Throwback. Say fucking quintessential.
Quintessentially.
We're both really proving our university dropout experience with words here.
I've written a paper.
I have too. It got a 0.
Nice.
I think I might be the only person that I know that has gotten a 0 on a university essay.
Yeah, I never got a 0.
Yeah. So it is pretty impressive. Its origins lie in an episode of Northern Exposure wherein two characters greet one another. Crisp encouraged him to name the project Bon Iver. While on tour with the Rosebuds, he asked to play a small solo set, his first prior to a performance at that year's South by Southwest. Encouraged, more performances followed in New York and in Wisconsin. And For Emma Forever Ago was self-distributed on MySpace in June of 2007 and gradually became an independent hit throughout the year, earning him a record deal with Jaguar Records.
Yep.
Now, okay, what's crazy about that is that it was out and was getting popular before it was making money.
And he originally printed, like, they did a release party when he self-released it in Wisconsin in Eau Claire, and he made 500 copies. He kept 100 to send to record labels, and then gave 400 out to people, and it just blew up on MySpace, blew up on the internet.
Damn.
On the interwebs.
On the interwebs.
And there was a little bit of a bidding war for him to sign a contract with somebody, and he ended up picking Jaguar because they're small town, they're from the Midwest, they're an independent record label, and he met with the owner, and he said they matched a lot of values, and they got along really well, so he still makes records with them, and
That's really cool.
Yeah, so he stuck with them, and they released this record in February of 2008, and he got even bigger. So
Damn. Okay, so about the artist.
About Vernon himself.
About Justin DeArmond Edison Vernon. He was born April 30th, 1981 in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, where he still lives to this day. He got big and then, has resided there ever since, which I think is really cool. I like when people do that. Known for his distinct falsetto voice and his incredible producing ability, he's also a member of the bands Volcano Choir, Big Red Machine, The Shouting Matches, and gangs. Now, what's really funny is that Big Red Machine, I was listening to just like my Spotify before you, and that came up, and I was like, wow, this guy sounds exactly like Bon Iver.
Yeah, I actually really like their stuff. It's Aaron Dressler from The National. He's the guitarist in The National. He's one of the twins in The National, and they've worked together. They worked together on Taylor Swift stuff as well. But yeah, they made Big Red Machine. It's actually named after the Cincinnati Reds in the 70s. They were called the Big Red Machine because they were winning lots of World Series. But yeah, they make good music together too. I think it's 2017 or 2018 album slaps pretty hard. I forget the name of it, but it's very, very good.
I think that was the one that I ended up saving to
I
my
Won't
Spotify.
Run From It is a really good song on that, yeah. An evergreen, I think.
Evergreen is a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so he attended Memorial High School in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, where and then he formed his first band, Mount Vernon, in 1997 after meeting its members at a high school Wisconsin jazz camp. He graduated from Memorial High in 99 and attended college at the University of Wisconsin, spending a semester in Ireland. He had majored in religious studies and minored in women's studies. In an interview with the Colbert Report, he said that he was not ready to study music at that time. Now, what I think is really interesting about that is, like, if you listen to his songs, it does make sense that those were two things that he was passionate about before.
Yeah.
Because his songs have an almost religious element to them.
Especially his newer stuff. I mean, 22 A Million's cover has a lot of, like, symbols on it, and some of them are religious symbols. So, like, yeah, he certainly does talk. Well, he talks about God on that album, too, so it makes sense why he has that background, which is something I didn't know about him.
Yeah. And it also makes sense, like, because I think that, around that era, there was a lot of, especially in popular music, there was a lot of, like, bro dude fucking, like, how they talk about women. And, like, I think probably one of the reasons that 4MO was so well received was because there's nothing that's, like shitty about it.
Yeah, well, when I saw him in Toronto, he was raising money for the women's shelter in Toronto at his show. So, yeah, he seems to be very politically active, especially around those sort of causes. So he's kind of kept, I guess, a little bit of that up to this day. That was 2019 I saw him. Yeah, so he was raising money during the show, and he talked about it a bunch of times. I think it's the Yellowbird Project. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but yeah.
That's really cool. Okay, so he formed D. Armand Edison in 2001 while still in college, and the group saw varying lineup changes during its 5 years. After playing in the Eau Claire music scene, the four bandmates decided to leave their longtime home and move to Raleigh, North Carolina. Why? To try their musical hand in a new place. The band released 2 records themselves, the first self-titled in 2004 and the second, Silent Signs, in 2005. And an EP of unreleased material is available on their MySpace page. After nearly a year in Raleigh, he left and came back to Wisconsin. We've talked about all of this, so that's kind of just summarized up.
Yeah.
Now, Bon Iver, after he formed as Bon Iver, won Best New Artist and Best Alternative Album at the 2012 Grammys for their 2011 self-titled album. During the creation of Kanye West's 2010 album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, he was invited to collaborate on various songs, providing vocals on Dark Fantasy, Monster, Hell of a Life, and Lost in the World, as well as the song That's My Bitch from West and Jay-Z's collaborative album Watch the Throne in 2011. He was involved in West's 2013 album Yeezus, contributing to I Am God, Hold My Liquor, and I'm In It. Now, it's crazy because, like, around that time, I obviously did not know anything about Bon Iver because I was in small town high school, but I knew who he was because of his work on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
It's a pretty prolific feature. Like, he's all over the album, on some of the biggest tracks too.
I would almost say that album is like basically Kanye West featuring Bon Iver.
Yeah, well, I mean, Lost in the World is like a good chunk of it is Bon Iver. Yeah. So it's pretty impressive. And then, I mean, he becomes like a very good producer as well after working with Kanye. So,
which you can definitely tell, like, in his later work, where the influence and like knowledge he would get from Kanye West comes into play.
Well, he said too that him and Kanye would disagree, which is I don't think a lot of people want to disagree with Kanye West, but they would disagree on musical choices.
Nowadays I think they do.
Yeah, well nowadays, yeah. No doubt. But at the time when it came to music, not a lot of people were disagreeing with Kanye because he was on the top of his game, and like what Kanye said went. But Kanye would listen to Justin Vernon, and he put some trust in him to, help him make his best album.
Which is pretty fucking crazy considering at the time he was generally unknown.
Yeah, he had one real release on his own.
Yeah.
And he was playing in like a bunch of different bands before that. So
yeah,
it's pretty incredible that he ended up linking up with Kanye and helping him with that album.
Insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so on September 25th, 2012, good day, Vernon walked away from Bon Iver temporarily, virtually putting an end to the band for the time being. When asked for the reasoning, he replied, "I'm winding it down. I look at it like a faucet. I have to turn it off and walk away from it because so much of how that music comes together is subconscious or discovering. There's so much attention on the band, it can be distracting at times. I really feel the need to walk away from it while I still care about it, and then if I come back to it, I'll feel better about it and have a renewed sense of self." Now, that's pretty interesting to do that at like the peak of, when everything's popular.
Like 2 albums in.
But on June 30th, 2014, the band released a new song titled Heavenly Father, which was featured on the soundtrack of Zach Braff's film Wish I Was Here. On November 18th, 2015, the band announced a tour of Asia starting in early 2016. And then 22 A Million was released on September 30th of 2016 and noted by many as a large stylistic shift for the band. One aspect of this shift included a drastic change in instrumentation on 22 Million and subsequent releases. He often collaborated with a group of saxophonists known as Sad Sax of Shit. That's a great fucking band.
Nice.
In Pitchfork's review of the album, the publication likened it to Radiohead's Kid, saying Bon Iver's first album in 5 years takes an unexpected turn towards the strange and experimental, but behind the arranged glitches and processed voices, it is deeply felt songs about uncertainty.
And he also began sampling quite a bit in that time as well, kind of bringing in elements of hip-hop production to, like, folktronica. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's a really good listen. I think that one's kind of a, like, grow on you type album. Because it was a big shift from obviously what he was doing before. He played around with auto-tune and things like that and vocal layering. But, I mean, he was also, in this album, he's layering instruments. He's using a vocoder to layer saxophones. So when I saw him live, it was really interesting because he used the vocoder as the instrument he used. But there was one guy playing a saxophone, and it sounded like 20 different fucking saxophones.
Really?
Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah.
That is
it was
fucking
pretty
crazy.
nuts. And that was... that instrument specifically he was using, that piece of tech, was invented by the lead singer of Francis and the Lights. I forget his name.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's Francis. But
Francis and the Lights is another great.
Yeah, so he
God.
uses that on his voice, but Vernon decided to use it on instruments. So it was very interesting. It's a live tool for splitting the sound into different pitches, and he used it on a saxophone. It was pretty fucking cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So taking that style, though, they released then I on August 30th of 2019. They released 2 songs leading up to it. Hey Ma, which I fucking love that song.
It's a good music video, too.
Really good music
Nostalgic.
video. And the new song, You Man Like, which features guest vocals from Moses Summy, Bruce Hornsby, Elisa Jensen, Jen Washner, and the Brooklyn Youth Choir. I was struggling there because there was a lot of Jens and Jensens in that quick succession.
It's a mouthful.
Now,
Mediocrity.
later, excuse me. Ooh, that was tasty.
You got some serious hiccups right now.
Dude, I don't know what it is. They're hiccups, too. Later in 2020, he collaborated with Taylor Swift to write and feature on the song Exile, and with an instrumental credit on Peace for her 8th studio album, Folklore. And then when she released her 9th studio album, Evermore, which was a surprise follow-up, he co-wrote the title track and played instruments on a shit ton of the songs on that and provided background vocals. I think that he's the best part of both of those albums. And, really, it comes full circle with, like, his trajectory and our trajectory, where at first he was into Kanye and now he's a Swiftie.
He switched teams.
He switched teams, just like us. So we got another parallel with.
I think I've seen this film before.
But I couldn't watch the ending.
I didn't like the ending. we had a little deja vu.
That was that was great.
That's what we did. We went from Westies to Swifties.
We went from Westies to Swifties.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I think this episode is going to slap my titties.
Oh, that's from when we were dueling in the Google Doc.
We were dueling
I was
in
like,
the
this
Google
episode's
Doc.
gonna slap, and Spencer put in my titties.
I did. Okay, so notable track lists and singles. Flume.
Yes.
Skinny Love, which was certified platinum in the U.S., number 32 in Denmark, number 18 in Portugal, 88 on the UK digital streaming chart 100. But the cover by UK musician Birdie charted around the world, notably number 37 in the adult top 40 and 24 on the hot rock. And
She was like 16 when she did that.
Yeah.
She was very young when that came out.
And honestly, it's amazing because it's one of those songs where it sounds just as good as the original, but taken very differently. You know, like very different. Like for instance, we're gonna do an episode on this later, but "Hurt" and the Johnny Cash and Trent Reznor
9 Inch Nails
versions.
yeah.
It's like very different meanings.
Same
behind
song, but
same
they
songs.
repurpose it to a different.
Yeah.
They take the lyrics and make it their own and make it their story, and it
Yeah.
changes meaning by who's singing it and how it's arranged.
And beautifully done.
Yeah, both are really nice.
Both are really nice. Okay, so, okay. It is said to be written about Christy Smith, but Justin clarifies this, saying it's not entirely accurate. It's about that time in a relationship that I was going through. You're in a relationship because you need help, but it's not necessarily why you should be in a relationship, and that's Skinny. Yeah.
He's kind of got this thing where he's like, well, the song is a little bit about them, but not really. It's like a big metaphor.
He's got the Prince thing where he doesn't really want to give you a definitive answer.
Yeah, it's like it could be, but not entirely. There's like other aspects that are.
Can you imagine how fucking annoying that would be if I did that with my jokes?
It's like it could be about you, but it's not. But I mean, I did say your name.
Really, if you think about it, it's more than
It's like,
about
Spencer,
that.
was that joke about Bill Cosby? Well, it could have been, but not entirely.
Not entirely. It's actually more of a metaphor
Yeah.
for how we as a society
Yeah.
perceive things.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not actually specifically about any one person. It's more of actually a thought process that we all go through.
I did say Bill, but like Bill could also be William.
It could be William.
Yeah.
It could be a dollar, like
Yeah,
a
a
dollar
dollar
bill,
bill, yeah.
which as a society we're wrapped up
Yeah.
into the idea of money, so
Yeah.
that also would
There
work.
you go. You've already game planned when you start backtracking in the future. There you go. We've already planned it out. We've already written the script. See, we collaborated on another script. There you
we
go.
did.
There you go. How lovely is that?
Okay, Lump Sum.
Yes.
Another great one.
Good track.
Wolves Act 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Fucking amazing.
Good songs.
For Emma, I wrote a whole I ended up deleting it, but I wrote a whole movie based around that song.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
an inspiration that it gave me.
Would you just need like the hard drive space, or?
Yeah, I just needed the hard
Yeah,
drive space. And I
okay,
was like,
gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
I'll remember this, and I've forgotten most
I'll
of
remember
it.
it word for word.
Yeah. Really shouldn't have fucking done that, but it's funny because now when people are like, "Oh, do you have any scripts?" I'm like, "Yeah, totally," and I'm like, "I fucking have
Deleted
one.
them all,
I
yeah.
remember a lot of them. I only have one." And then Ari Stacks was about his gambling problem, which we talked about earlier. Now let's get into the reception of this badass motherfucker. It scored an 88 on a review aggregate site Metacritic based on 27 critics. Pitchfork gave it 8.1 out of 10, Rolling Stone 3.5 out of 5 stars, and the AV Club an A-. In its first week, it sold 4,000 copies, which helped it debut at number 182 on Billboard, and it eventually peaked at 64. It debuted on number 42 on the UK albums chart, and it was later certified gold. And it has been a top-selling album on vinyl for many years now. Because at that point, that was right during the vinyl resurgence.
Yeah.
And it really fit the vibe of what a lot of the artists who were releasing on vinyl were doing. And it sold 102,000 copies on vinyl.
That's pretty nutty.
In the first half of the 2010s.
We have one.
We have one. So there's 101 999,000 others of
nice.
I fucked that up.
Good math.
Its overall sales were estimated at last at 335,000 copies for the vinyl. Just that. In June 2011, the album was certified gold by the Recording Association of America for shipments of 500,000 copies, and later was platinum in 2017 for over 1 million units. Mm-hmm. It's number 461 on the Rolling Stones 500 greatest albums of all time.
Which is strange because they gave it a 3.5 out of 5. You think they would give it higher? Like you said, Rolling Stone gave them a 3.5.
Yeah,
I think they would give it higher after putting it on their top 500.
And also I personally I love it as an album, but it doesn't have my favorite Bon Iver songs on it, you know, like I think that there's other songs that I like better that are on this album. It is weird that they would give it a 3.5 out of 5
and then put it on their top 500.
Yeah, because I think but mind you, their top 500 list also had some fucking weird ones too,
all their lists kind of have weird ones. Rolling Stone isn't really the pinnacle of nuanced opinions.
Yeah, it's not quite clear.
No.
Not quite crisp.
No.
Okay.
What did the one guy say about the Rolling Stones from CKY?
Oh no, that was the
Rolling Stone.
The girl was like, she said that a listener might want to commit suicide to drown out the sounds of this album.
There's the nuanced opinion from the Rolling Stone.
Yeah. Which again, it's funny because it's like that. I feel like, we talk about critics a lot, and I do. I shit on critics a lot, but I think that we are able to look at things a little bit more objectively than the Rolling Stone reviewers have been able to.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I agree with that because sometimes you spit a number, I'm like, yeah, I feel like that's good enough.
It's our combined score.
It's true.
Score.
Well, yeah, it's true.
It's the aggregate.
That's true.
We got 2 people, and these critics are fucking one person. They suck.
True. That's true.
We do not suck.
The Rolling Stone is one person.
It is one stone. They roll it down a hill and it hits a number.
Rock. He's one rock.
Okay, so about the culture at the time. Folk makes a revival with singer-songwriters such as Iron and Wine,
Sophie and Stevens,
Elliott Smith, City and Keller, Fleet Foxes. It's making a rise at the time because country is becoming more pop at this moment. So there's a need for that singer-songwriter sound. Bands are getting online popular before scoring record deals. This is like the early part of YouTube. Yeah. MySpace is at its peak at this time. Mm-hmm. But 2007 was also the rise of the indie sound that incorporated folk music and electronic elements. Like Bibio started to get popular around this time. And you have this is what I thought was really interesting is you have this West Coast Seattle pop punk sound and this East Coast Brooklyn like hipster band sound that are having a huge influence on like mainstream artists and giving them a lot of inspiration. So it's the rise of that indie alt rock thing. And that's when you start seeing a lot of these indie radio stations pop up, like fucking X92.9 popped up around 2007. So then vinyl also starts making a comeback. We talked about this earlier, but it starts making a comeback because of artists in both of those areas. Specifically with the West Coast side, like the Seattle sound, Sub Pop Records was having a resurgence, and they had dipped out of basically existence. But then Seattle had a new sound come out, and it was this like, alt pop punk weird sort of thing that started to end up developing into what we are currently still hearing on the radio. But Sub Pop jumped on signing a bunch of these artists
and then started pumping it out,
and so then they were like, all right, let's do a vinyl, and the vinyls would sell out like crazy. So then bigger labels saw that and decided, let's also pump out a vinyl. So the iPhone is also announced. An Android interface is released, beginning the smartphone era.
I threw in a bunch of random 2007 things here just for fun.
But you know what? That one's super applicable because iTunes. I mean, like this is the iPod era.
Yep.
And like it's realistically the first time that you can walk around with your record collection in your pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And everyone did. I remember having a fucking iPod Nano.
Oh yeah, iPods were big. I mean, from like the early 2000s on.
Yeah.
There were all the different versions. I literally had the version that had no screen. It was a USB stick.
Yeah, I had that one too. The iPod Shuffle.
It was like, oh, what's on next? This is a surprise.
Yeah, I hated
4 gigabytes. Let's go.
Oh my god, and it's amazing too because I remember being like, I can fit 100 songs on here. That's crazy. All right, George Bush presidency is coming to a close. Obama. Martin Scorsese finally wins the Oscar for Best Directed for The Departed.
Yeah, Best Director. He finally gets one.
Britney Spears shaves her head.
Yeah, she sure does.
Yep.
Prince sings Purple Rain in the Rain at the Super Bowl.
And The Sopranos ended.
Yep.
I saw the finale live, baby.
Yeah, and you're like, fuck, did my power go out?
We literally thought that. We were literally, because we lived on a fucking ranch in the middle of nowhere, we were like, what the fuck just happened? Is the satellite broken? Like, it was, fuck that ending. Okay, so.
But yeah, I threw in a little fun facts for you.
Yeah, so fun fact number 1. After a 2015 Glastonbury performance where Vernon sang background for Kanye, Ye was quoted as saying, Vernon is one of the baddest white boys on the planet.
Yeah, which now
not as bad as Hitler.
Which now takes a bit of a different context, as you were just pointing out. But yeah, Vernon was at one point to Kanye West one of the baddest white boys on the planet,
which is pretty cool.
Which is cool. I thought it was a nice quote.
Now we get into the criticisms.
Yes, this is one that we both kind of talked about. But
yeah,
I've listened to this album for a long time, and like Sarah doesn't listen to this style of music, so we were driving, and I was playing it, and we were listening to it, and she was like. I was like, yeah, what do you think about it? She's like, yeah, like it sounds nice, but I can't make out any of the words he's saying.
Yeah.
Which is like, as someone who's listened to it a long time, is like you kind of get the words. Like I've looked at the lyrics enough where I can make them out, but she's right.
Yeah. No, totally.
Yeah.
And like there was lyrics that I was looking up, like because I was watching it, on like Music Genius as I'm like listening to it the other day, and I was like. Yeah, fuck, like, I misheard a lot of these lyrics, but I still got the meaning of the song, you know? Like, I just fucking... that's why I said, like, it kind of didn't matter at a certain point.
Yeah, also, some of the lyrics don't really make that much sense.
No, but again, I think that part of it's because he made it the instrument being the focus, and then was just kind of like...
Which is kind of a theme through, like, besides Bon Iver, where a lot of the lyrics actually do make sense, but, like, 22 A Million, they're kind of sporadic and all over the place.
Yeah.
Same with I, it's kind of the same thing. And Blood Bank, there's a couple in Blood Bank that make sense, but he's not really, like, you're not really listening for the lyrics itself, even though some of them are deep and beautiful. Yeah. There's certainly some lyrics that stand out for him, but, yeah, it's more of the sound itself. How they sound when he sings the words.
Yeah.
Not about the words itself.
And it would be amazing to see him sing anything, honestly. I would hand him the phone book and be very interested.
But you're like, you need a number, and you're like, oh, fuck, what was that? You're like, Justin, can you find me the number for the fucking...
403 403 1 9 403 403 1 9
4
7 4 3 2 5.
That's too many numbers.
Oh no, let me try again. 403.
The bunnies don't like that. The bunnies are going hype about it. All right, shall we review this sucker and call her a day?
Review. Yeah, so every episode we review it on 6 points. Technical element, musical element, lyrics, reception, album art, does it hold up? Technical element, although it's impressive that he did everything himself, and he layered everything himself, and apart from the brass, I think that it does give it a distinct sound, and it sounds good, but I would probably say like 6.5 to a 7, somewhere in there.
See, I was coming in around a 7 on it, maybe a 7.5, just because he did it on like old tech, and he did it all himself, and he found creative ways
to work around that. Yeah.
Yes. I think I'll go 7.5 if you give your score. And you can...
Yeah, I'll give a 6.5, and then we're at a 7.
That works.
Musical element. It is, again, super impressive that he's doing everything himself. Musically, it's and this is where it's kind of interesting because it's not necessarily complicated music, but the layering and the fact that he layers it live and everything makes it more complicated. Also, his falsetto is amazing. So, again, I have to go a little bit higher on it. Like, I would probably say a 7.5 on this one.
Yeah, I'll go 8. We'll do a 7.75 on it. I'll go 8 on it. And there's literally only 3 other people that had their hands on their albums. 2 guys played the trumpet, and then Christy Smith played the drums on Flume, and that was like when they were in Rally, and that's it. Yeah. So it's all him, and I mean, which is pretty impressive.
That is super impressive. So we're right now sitting at a 7.5, which is good. Lyrics, this is where we kind of like. The lyrics, it's weird because on this album, like we've talked about already, they don't matter as much as the emotion that is invoked by the instruments on this album. But lyrically, it's kind of like somebody in grade 9 trying to write a haiku and fucking it up at some points.
See, I can kind of relate because like some of it is like, oh, I get what he's saying.
I get what he's saying.
Sometimes I'm like, I don't really understand what he's getting at. It's like that doesn't really fit, the theme. But he's like, we were talking about it. He was trying to take inspiration from Bruce Springsteen, which was, we talked about not being laced in metaphor, but everything he sings is a fucking metaphor. Justin Vernon, everything he sings is a fucking metaphor. So I'd be down to go a little lower on this personally. I'd give it like a 6.
Yeah.
There's couple songs that certainly hit lyric wise, but it's more about the sound of it than anything. So yeah, I'll go a 6 on it.
I'd go a 6.5, and then that averages us at a 7 right now. Reception, highly received. Well, I mean it's a 9, like it's an 8.8 or an 88 on Metacritic, so I would go a 9.
Yeah, I think we need to bump the score more than a 7, so I'm gonna
so
we're
at
a 9.
We're at a 7.75 now. Album art, I would give it honestly I'd probably give it like a 9. Like I really do like the album art. I think that it's interesting because like it just looks like you're looking through a frosted window.
It kind of sets the tone for it.
Yeah.
I certainly think he has better album covers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go an 8 on it.
Okay, so we're at an 8.25. Does it hold up? I'd say yes.
Absolutely.
So 8.25 out of 10?
I think that's a very good score.
That's a very good score. All right. Well, thank you for listening to Misfits on Vinyl.
That was a fun one.
That was a fun one.
Yeah.
It was fun because we both really loved the album, which it was hard to not enjoy doing the research on it and re-listening to it because I haven't actually actively listened to the album.
It's been a while since I've listened to it. I mean, even his music in general, I've kind of haven't listened to it as much lately as I was at one point in time. But it was kind of nice to revisit his stuff, and I started listening to some of his other stuff again. As well. So it was a nice little trip this week. It's nice being back with the fellas.
Nice. It honestly is. It's
I missed you guys.
I missed this.
Yeah, it was an extended vacation that felt too long without you guys.
I missed this, the Misfits. Yeah.
And Christmas coming soon.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for listening.
Guys, thank
you. Have a good one, and anal contusions.
L'chaim. Thank you for listening to this episode of Misfits on Vinyl, hosted by Spencer Streichert and me, Aaron Walsh, and of course produced by Sam the Tech Man, Sam Lindsay. If you like us, please rate us, subscribe to us, share us. Our socials are Misfits on Vinyl Podcast on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to send us an email with any suggestions or criticisms, we love that shit, so send it away. It's misfitsonvinyl@gmail.com. We love you guys. Thank you.